and welcome to the Comic Conspiracy, episode 631 for the week of Monday, February 24th, 2025. My name's Ryan Higgins. Who's here?
Brock Sager.
Kevin.
Toby.
Lane.
The whole gang. Hello, everyone.
Hello.
How are you?
Whole gang is including Charlie.
Yeah, Charlie has been on for a while. This is the new gang.
The new crew.
It's all right. It's all right. Yeah, exactly. It's all right. Always changing. Always changing. Like the Avengers, always new members. Some core members return. You know how it is.
So you need the Caps Kooky Quartet version of this podcast.
Yeah. Oh, this quartet is very kooky. So.
Is this the Sam Falcons version of the Avengers?
Hey, now, come
Avengers
on.
just for you, Toby.
Well, on the bright
We're West
side,
Coast.
we're not Ryan's worst fear. We don't have kids coming up take our place.
Yeah.
Brody, you want to be on?
We wish we were the West Coast Avengers. Lots of stuff to talk about actually this week. Look at that. We're going to talk about Captain America: Brave New World. I'm sure that's the name of the movie.
New World Order?
Bet my life on it.
No,
yeah, it was called that at one point. I'm not crazy, right?
No, it's Brave New World is what they called it.
But wasn't it called New World Order at one point?
I don't know.
They changed the name multiple times. We're going to talk about that back half of the podcast. So Kevin hasn't seen it yet, so no spoilers for him.
I'll
We'll
listen
spoil
at the beginning to hear what your overall comments are, and then...
Sure. But first, we're going to talk about ComicsPro and some of the news that came out of that. This is the comic book retailer conference it happens all over the country this year, and I believe next year. I believe they do like 2 in a row in the same location. Is in Burbank, so close. And I was like, hey, I should go to one of these things. I've been to plenty of retailer meetings at conventions, but I've never actually been to ComicsPro. It is 3 days of. So it is not a comic convention, right? Just to get that out of the way, it is a business conference. It's 3 days of. It's pretty grueling. I mean, it's 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. straight presentations, round tables. God, so we talked to 40 different vendors over what's that? I guess 400 minutes over the 3 days. Because it was like 10 minutes and change at each 10 and change at each table. Kind of upcoming stuff, setting up accounts, doing all that stuff. Then there is a quote unquote dealer's room, but it's not a dealer's room. Again, it's more networking and setting up accounts and getting a look at upcoming products. And, of course, there's stuff going on afterwards, but then that's...
So how many hours did you work at the Comic Hub booth?
No Comic Hub this year. They've been in a lot of the previous ones, but not this time. They weren't at this one, so maybe next year they'll be there. But the other two, the other 2 point of sale system guys were there. Managed Comics and I'm gonna get the other one wrong. I never remember. I can always remember one of the two. There's a couple. So there's. I think we're all kind of around the same number of shops, maybe, and the other one might have a little bit more than Comic Hub, but so there's kind of a few other point of sale systems that do things, and one's more just internally. The other one has more online capability to Shopify. Comic Hub has its own system, so yeah, there's kind of multiple shops that do this. That have their own point of sale systems, but yeah, no Comic Hub this year. But me and one of the other guys, because as there was 3 of us at my roundtable that were Comic Hub users, and Pete, one of the other guys, he's kind of one of the very vocal members of the group. We've sort of deputized ourselves to take on some of the roles of promoting Comic Hub to the publishers. Because Stu wasn't there, the guy that runs Comic Hub. It was very cool. I mean, I don't think any of you guys would have fun there. I mean, maybe a little bit. There was
There, that plays a part. Bring me next.
There's comic pros there, but only doing the presentations, and then obviously it's some of the after party stuff. But they're not, it's there's not really like they're not signing at booths and things like that. That's not what this is about. There's nothing to buy. There's no merch.
Sounds almost like the perfect Comic-Con.
Yeah, I mean, I came back with a long box of stuff.
Yeah, he did. I saw it.
Or a short box of stuff, but I didn't. But I did pay for one thing. We'll talk about that maybe. Yeah, no, it was really cool. I mean, it was really awesome to be able to put names and faces and people I see at other conventions. People I talk to online constantly, but that I kind of only see in passing at Comic-Con, or every now we'll chat online on the phone occasionally. But like, I should sit down and spend some real quality time with a bunch of the other retailers that I know, and have real meaningful conversation with the vendors, not just over email or just kind of randomly. It was really neat. I've look, it's work, right? Work's tough. Doesn't matter what the job is. And there are times where I definitely get, it's you kind of get in a funk. And I'm not going to lie. I've been in a bit of a funk with the store. And this was like kind of a nice, like not a wake up call, but like, it was just kind of reinvigorating getting to talk to a lot of people.
Fresh
and
air.
Well, it was a lot more positive than I was expecting, because I think the retailer forums and everything's just so negative constantly online. And I guess that's it's understandable, because when everything's fine, we have no reason to post anything on the retailer groups or on the FSC group or on the Comic Cup. When people are posting stuff, it's because there's a problem, right? Or a disagreement. So it does. I guess I kind of underestimated. Not any of the people I know. I mean, I know a ton of retailers that are all super, super nice. But I was expecting the vibe to be just like really down and everyone be in a bad mood. And it could not have been more opposite than that. It was, everyone was, there's concerns for some stuff, but that it was not in any way, shape, or form the kind of the main focus of the convention. There was the worst. And people like, some of the publishers like, well, we don't know what's going to happen. We're kind of just going forward with everything as is, and we understand there's challenges and things with shipping and all the distribution problems with Diamond, and they're like, well, we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. But as for now, things are still good. There definitely seems to be a bit of a disconnect, and I'd love to talk to people in the industry a little bit more about where this seems to be, because some stores definitely did good in 2024, but I know a lot of stores that were flat or down, and it seemed like every publisher was saying 2024 is our best year, is one of our biggest years, and so
I saw you post that while you were gone.
Yeah, it was like. I got messages from a few retailers that were like, this feels not out of touch, but just a little disconnected.
Well, I think my initial response to that kind of comment that you made was, well, we don't get any numbers. We don't have sales chart numbers. We don't have anything to kind of gauge where everything is at.
Sure. We never really, we don't know any firm numbers. We had estimates from Diamond to comic stores. That's not,
it's solid numbers, but it's something.
In BookScan, which is more accurate, which is the book sales, or the sales of graphic novels to bookstores, Amazon, and Comic Hub, because Comic Hub reports to BookScan. It's the only point of sale. It's the only comics point of sale that does. So I don't think the companies are just like, just blowing smoke. I assume they're not lying to us. I think a lot of them did do well, but I think there's conversations to be had about, is there increased sales outside the direct market? Is there, other thing, direct to consumer Kickstarter, right? Only, Skybound's had a number of huge Kickstarters, right? So I always the publishers could be doing better than the stores because they have additional outlets. The stores are, for the most part, most stores are smaller one-man operations or, smaller operations like us. So it's just interesting. It's but it was very, very positive, way more positive than I thought. Came out with a ton of cool ideas, ton of products I wanted to carry. Not everything will make it to the shop or click, but just really, really good. If you work at a shop or run a shop, I don't know. I got the people have said ComicsPro is usually pretty positive. This seemed to be way busier and not significantly more positive, but very positive. Was sort of how a number of the people that had been to many of the ComicsPros have said. So this seemed to be one of, if not the best, cons that they've had. So
they were pumping
very, very
something
happy
into the air. Got it. Okay.
I mean, maybe. I think most people just said they were happy that,
on happy gas.
No, most people just said they were happy they're in California and not like, I think the last couple of years it was like Pittsburgh or something. They said it was like negative 17 degrees or something crazy. So like, yeah, it's a little bit warmer in Southern California this time of year. So there's a lot of people like that. But it was just a lot of panels. Those round tables. So it was like usually between 3 to 5 of us at a table, and it's just some of them were just pitch the book, done. Okay, cool. And some were more asking questions about our stores and the industry and kind of what we like. Distributors were there, so Penguin Random House got to talk and give some feedback, and on the last, so there's like kind of 4. It broke down to like 2. It was like 2 hour-and-a-half groups twice on 2 days, and the very last one, it was like half the people didn't show up, so it was a little bit smoother, a little bit quieter, but it was still a good time. Trying to think, or some cool stuff. There was some. Got to go hang out with Timmy at the Boom after party thing one night at our good friend Timmy from Arsenal Comics. Hang out with him. Trying to think. DC had a big presence, right? Because DC's local, so a lot of the DC people were there. Jeff Johns was there for Ghost Machine because again, he lives like lives in Burbank. He literally lives right there. Or like right in that area. Chip Zdarsky, probably the funniest thing in the entire con. Let's pull this up real quick. So they're in, DC's introducing. They're like, we're gonna talk about after Hush. We're gonna relaunch Batman with this. Obviously, we'll talk about this
new number
here.
1 Batman.
So we're gonna relaunch Batman with a brand new number. So it comes out right, and Chip Zdarsky's on stage at DC, with the DC panel, and so they're like, "Yep, we're gonna reintroduce new vision, new costume, new Batmobile. It's Batman number 1." And Chip's like, yeah, he's getting the crowd going, like he's all right here. And he's like, "Yep, here we go. Written by Matt Fraction." And Chip, because he's on Batman now, but he just ran Descended. And you see him, he stands up, he's like, and he just drops his head and walks off stage, and then Matt Fraction walks on stage. I mean, it's very funny. It's very funny. Chip Zdarsky, if you've never seen him in person, it's hilarious. Him and Matt Fraction are like really good friends. So it was a very, very, if you could see the video of it, I don't know because they live streamed a lot of this stuff. I don't know if the DC stuff, the Marvel and DC stuff might have got blacked out because they had because right after the conference, right after their presentation, all the stuff hit the news feed. So they may have had like a timed exclusive with someone, so they may have actually blacked those out, but I wonder if there's a video out there. Very, very funny. Chip Zdarsky is amazing. I think what else? Trying to think what else.
Are you going to talk about your purchase?
I'll get to that. I spent a lot of time with Chris and Jessica from Crooked Dog Comics, who we had on podcast
Nice.
a couple of months back, right? So they were there. So nice, very nice on the podcast. Super, super nice. We had tons of great conversations, and it's cool to see the industry through their eyes because they're so new to this and not bitter and jaded and destroyed and like so many of us are. There's a very good energy there. A lot of really good newer retailers. I didn't catch their names, but there were people at the table across from us on the second day that like them, they hadn't actually opened a store yet. So this was their first ComicsPro, and they're in the process of opening a store. So that's something to do with Crooked Dog as well. So they went to Comics. They've been to two of them, and I've only been to one of these things. And so good on them. Just great conversations. We went and got dinner. Was that Thursday night, Friday night? I get the nights all mixed up. And just picked my brain, and we just talked shop for hours. It was great. Talked to Joe Murray, president of ComicsPro. We had a bunch of big talks. He's a comics hub guy too. So we talk constantly online and over video chat and stuff. But got some good time with him, chatting about Hub and ComicsPro and everything. So, and Joe's a super, super nice guy. It just everyone we talked to, there was no one was a bummer. No one was angry. When there'd be disagreements about stuff, of course, but there was nothing was.
Do you think it's because there's probably been a shift in the people that are opening comic stores? The ones that didn't transition with online and COVID and work and so on and so forth. Those ones that were the more vocal kind of died off.
I would think that if you're still around, you're doing something right. If you're opening a shop now, you're it's tough, right? But you're excited. You've only been doing this for a while. I mean, there's plenty of successful grumpy comic store owners still out there. It's not like I talked to everyone in the room, but the people I talked with and the people that I had the round tables with and hung out with, everyone was in a surprisingly great mood. Again, even when things would occasionally turn into a slight bitch session, it wasn't like doom and gloom. It was, well, here are the problems and here's how we should fix this. Right. It was very positive, even when it was, it was very constructive. Yeah. Very, very constructive. If I had any complaint, and this was the complaint of the convention.
Oh, let's do it. Bring on the complaints.
Yeah, if there was a complaint at the convention, it was fucking freezing.
They were trying to just get people
in that hotel.
They didn't want to shock people coming from the Midwest, because if they made it the temperature that they were supposed to, they would all be in shock.
Yeah, it was goddamn freezing in there. They had one meeting room that was in the lower floor, and it was 1,000 degrees warmer down there. And I was like, oh my god, I take my hoodie off. I'm sweating. But the big ballroom, hey, you could turn that AC down a few degrees, guys. Look, I love a good AC, but boy, was it cold. Everyone was like, holy shit, it's freezing in here. People packed in. It was busy. It wasn't like it was dead. There was a lot of people in there, but still, you could have taken your foot off the gas there a little bit. They probably set it for
con attendance, and it wasn't full con people. Right.
Yeah, I mean, maybe. No, really cool. Really, really good experience. I highly recommend it if you end up going. If you're in a shop, the reason, one of the main reasons I went is because it just wasn't around me. It was always in the East Coast, it was in Portland a couple times, and I remember it being there, but I don't remember why I didn't go. Something, I don't know. There was some reason I didn't go. But they do
the old
location.
Texas. They were down south one year or something, and I remember you were I just don't want to go.
Are they in LA?
I think they were in LA.
They were
they were. I think one time, because I remember you talking about going to ComicsPro because you're it's down south. I should go. And I'm or I wasn't. You were just meh.
I'd always talk about it, but yeah, usually it was pretty.
You were the
far
grumpy
away.
guy that didn't want to go.
Well, I'm still a grumpy guy, but I did go.
I was
good.
refreshing just comic news the whole time, and no new stories were coming up. Is there any
yeah, it's weird.
any
It's
news
weird,
you
it's
could
weird.
break?
Yeah.
You know, it's
yeah.
like-
Well,
yeah,
There
the
could
big
be a
one.
Discord channel, like
No, but there's a big story out of that one.
I mean, there's quite a few big
well,
stories.
there's one big one though.
Well, there's one very big one.
Yeah.
I want Toby to tell me what it is because I'm sure it's something goofy. But
Oh yeah,
ComicsPro.
Paddington Bear is coming to comics.
ComicsPro. There has been news, but this felt like there was actually
they
kind of some significant news here.
So on my end, right? Because I covered at the shop. So my end, seeing the feed come out, I was like on Blue Sky, I was like, oh man, they're dropping some actual news out of ComicsPro. Before it was kind of just like, oh yeah, stuff's going on at ComicsPro, but it felt like they actually used ComicsPro this year as a place to launch some things and announce some things, and I was like, oh, okay, cool. Like, we don't need to wait for a comic book convention. This can be this is for this is the retailer side are getting some news drops.
Yeah. It was like not. It wasn't 1,000 panels. It was every vendor kind of had their talk. So some went longer than others, and again, a lot of them were more general or informative versus news focused. But I think it's pretty obvious. Kind of the big news of the convention was on the last day, Marie Javins and CB Cebulski, editor-in-chief of DC and Marvel, went on stage together, which does not happen often at comic conventions. It is pretty rare that there have been times where they've both been on stage. The editor-in-chiefs have been on stage together for something. But again, it's pretty uncommon. So, everyone would have started to buzz real quick because they're like, okay, are they announcing they're going to reprint the books or JLA Avengers? They're going to continue. No, it was more than that. DC Marvel and Marvel DC. There will be 2 one-shot company-wide crossovers coming out in 2025. More details soon. I expect, maybe lead up to Comic-Con or WonderCon, we'll get some more official announcements here. But for the first time since, God, when did JLA Avengers end?
Wasn't it 2003?
What was the last? Was it 2003?
Well, no, wait, that one might have been.
I'm trying to remember what. Yeah, it was 2003. Did it go into 2004? Yeah, March 2004 was when the final issue came out.
Okay.
So over 20 years since we've had a Marvel and DC crossover, and it is officially back. There will be 2 one-shots, DC Marvel, I'm assuming published by DC, and Marvel DC, I'm assuming published by Marvel. Again, no creative teams, no nothing, but this is great, right?
It's huge.
It really is. My hope is this shows, that Warner and Disney are kind of letting the comics people do the comic thing, right? Everyone's complaint was, Warner Brothers is now Warner Discovery, and what are they going to do to DC Comics? Over the last number of years, there's been so many layoffs and problems over the last 15, 20 years, right? DC's gone through the ringer. And people love Disney's money, but there is always the fear of, Disney really just kneecapping Marvel's creativity and editorial. And, again, Marvel claims it doesn't, but who knows, right? Who knows what they're kind of allowed to do and not allowed to do. And there's been such a agony over the JLA Avengers reprint, and those omnibuses felt like.
I
it
never
was just,
thought those were coming. I never
right?
in a million years thought those would come out ever. That was such a surprise.
Well, and my response to the thing was I'm like, cool, I'm excited for it, but are they going to release like a compendium of those so that people have them and they stay in print for a set period of time? Like,
I mean, we'll find out.
You know, like it would be nice if that's kind of how the agreement is, but
I mean, I'm not going to complain. We're getting Marvel and DC. We're getting 2 Marvel and DC crossovers. Fantastic. You know, these things are in the 21st century. They are difficult. This is not just 2 random companies that are like, yeah, sure, we'll do something. These are 2 of the biggest IPs run by 2 of the biggest corporations on Earth. The lawyers alone could make this not feasible, right? Regardless of what the sales are. Just like there's so much red tape that goes into the back now compared to, you know, I'm sure it was always complicated, but now it's complicated on a level that it really, you know, has never been before. I mean, the last 20 years is probably part of that. It's just not, it probably just wasn't worth it, right? So whatever their agreement was for the JLA Avengers, for the omnibuses, this is probably, you know, like, okay, we'll do these, and now we got the paperwork and we got this thing all worked out, and we'll go from there, and we'll do this. You know, I don't want them to flood the market with 1,000 books. You know, some of those later crossovers got a little meh, you know, and then, you know, they stopped being special. You know, if every couple of years you want to do something neat, like, yeah, go for it. It'll be huge. So especially, you know, we have so like almost nobody working in comics now was working in comics when JLA Avengers came out, right? So few of the regular writers, you know, that were working, you know, Dan Slott was, but he'd be writing like the Arkham Asylum miniseries that he did, you know, like he's not Dan Slott, right? The guy that wrote Spider-Man for 15 years, right? So you have all these creators, you know, half the guys, none of the people at DC were working in comics in 2003, 2004.
What?
So there's a what's that?
Wade.
I mean, Jim Lee, obviously, but what's
Wade.
Mark Wade.
Mark Wade.
There's a couple
Yeah,
of
sure,
old guard
sure.
guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, very few. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. Yeah, very, very, very exciting. Yeah, I was just like, we were just so busy. I never looked on social media except for like a minute or two here and there. Like, so I didn't get the vibes of what people were thinking when the stuff got announced, but hopefully it was, hopefully positive. It was definitely positive in the room.
People seem to be excited about, you know, things in general. Like that DC Marvel thing was, you know, it was big. Like a lot of people were like, ooh, excited for it. You know, I think the Batman #1 was the one where people were kind of torn, because like I talked to a few customers in store that were like, they're renumbering Batman again.
Really? I thought they were more torn by Hush.
No.
What about it?
The 2 parts.
Oh yeah. I mean, I assumed that was the case, because I thought maybe they just do a 6 issue, but they announced, oh no, Hush is going to be 12 issues, the first 6, then Batman's getting relaunched. Who knows where the next 6 are going to end up? I guess later in the run, but I'm not going to complain. I'll gladly take 6 more issues of Jim Lee and Jeff Loeb. Just it'll come out when it comes out, so I give them time. I don't care about that. It's fine.
Yeah, but for the most part, like people were just like, Batman #1, okay. Like it's that constant renumbering with no kind of set structure to it that people are just kind of like, meh.
Yeah, it's meaningless now, and I'm not saying that the book won't be good. It's just the numbering thing it doesn't, you know, Marvel and DC have killed the meaning to the number. Now they have the legacy numbering does seem to be picking up steam. The new Vampirella book from Dynamite has legacy numbering attached to it, which we got to see at ComicsPro. And that was one of the things they pointed out. They're like, you know, we actively want to engage to this like long-term thing, but #1s just always sell better. You know, so there is the reality of history and legacy and what fans want, and then there's the reality of, you know, making money, corporate decisions, and, you know, sales numbers you have to hit. I think legacy numbering is a 100% perfectly acceptable middle ground. That's fine. I don't want to see a new #1 every 6 months, but if every 5 years they renumber Batman, so be it. Like, you can't put the genie back in the bottle. It's done. So, this is just the world. If you don't like it, don't read the comics. I guess I don't know what else to say.
That's the thing, right? It might be a good. They might go. The numbers are great, but it could also be a good jumping off point.
Yeah,
right.
But they got it's a good jumping off point. But number ones are also a good jumping on point. Trust me, when Marvel puts out 5 Spider-Gwen number ones in a 2-year period by just kind of whoever, nothing against the creative teams on it, but they're just sort of there. That's one thing. Batman by Matt Fraction and Jorge Jimenez with a new number 1 is a significant.
No, I'm not
story.
Saying that's not a significant thing. It's more of consistency, like you said. Every 5 years. Like if they had this kind of commitment to the creators, commitment to that, I think it would show better than. We're going to relaunch Batman again because we have a new creative team. It's make it more something that's structured versus something that's just like, yeah, we're doing a new creative team. We want to relaunch it at number 1. That's kind of just how people feel.
Well, again, if they relaunch the book with a new number 1 when a new creative team takes over, I'm actually perfectly okay with that, assuming the creative team is on for some significant length of time.
2 years, I think, is a solid amount, right?
But right. DC or what Marvel has done is they'll renumber multiple times and rename the book with the same creator. That I don't like.
No.
Now, if we get another number 1 in 18 months by Matt Fraction, then I'm 100% with you. I don't like that at all. If DC, if Matt Fraction has 3 or 4 years in the book and then they relaunch when someone else takes over, I'm fine with it. If he writes 7 issues and then leaves, I don't want a new number 1.
Yeah.
So it's going to be on a case by case basis.
Then you'll get your legacy numbering.
I believe legacy numbering is on it from the start. I can find out, but I'm pretty confident DC seems to have gone all in on the legacy numbering. Like it's on all their books now, or at least a lot of them.
It's on the ones that they've recently done, like Wonder Woman. Well, no, wait. Does Wonder Woman have legacy numbering?
Like Green Lantern and Flash have them too now, right?
I don't think they do.
A bunch of I was checking the cover art on a bunch of recent issues, and yeah, they've had them.
Let me double check. I think Green Lantern came out recently.
Yeah, I can. So yeah, and again, Batman launches in September. This they could have held this for months. They could have held this to Comic-Con.
Yeah, Wonder Woman has that. It's the legacy triangle that they're putting at the bottom. Yeah. So Wonder Woman is at 8/18. Yeah. No, I don't mind that.
Yeah, no, I think that's a perfectly reasonable middle ground, and I'm totally okay with it. I just want them on there. But I want a good book. A good book is better than whatever the number is. The number is meaningless. And now I like it. I want them to keep the books going. I don't want them to relaunch, but they do. That's fine. The book has to be good. Kevin, for you, did you see this? We're back with the blue and gray, baby. It's your Batman.
It's not quite my Batman. I saw the headline back in the blue and gray, and I got a instant flagpole. And then when I actually saw the costume, it's interesting. It's not.
It's Dan Mora.
No, I mean,
sorry.
Yeah, it's cool.
Yeah.
It's almost there. It's almost there.
Got your color scheme. So yeah, it's
I'll always miss the yellow oval.
Oh yeah. Matt Fraction had he had really good things to say about the book. He's obviously his Batman. It's amazing. I'm very paraphrasing from my memory from a few days ago. But just fun. Like I think he said like the first issue starts with like, the rain finally stopped in Gotham, and it's like Batman in the daytime, right? So they're going to actively, like, something happens in the Batman book. They were very vague about it, and this Batman now takes place.
Is this after Gothtopia?
I mean, I've been right. I don't know. They didn't they didn't really get into any spoilers, obviously. But these are going to be kind of these, self-contained, one-shot, two-shot stories, shorter, a complete story within a book, which is fucking thank God. But obviously, connective tissue that runs through their series. One of my biggest complaints with so many of the books from DC recently has been some of these stories just fucking drag on, and I'm like, God, guys. This used to be like a 2-parter or a 3-parter. It's been like 18 issues. Can we move on from these villains? Can we just do something else? It's not that the books are bad. It's just like
Scott Snyder
other characters.
Scott Snyder had Zero Year, right? Tom King had his Nightmares.
Snyder and King both had larger arcs that ran over the course of the whole book, but these pretty contained runs that told a complete story. But if you read the whole book, you obviously got more. But there's been just something editorially that's a little funky. And
I've always stated that Brand New Day. When Spider-Man relaunched after One More Day with Brand New Day, and they had that single story or couple issue story, like rotating creative teams on the book. Not that the teams need to be rotating, but they had those rotating things. But they had that thread that ran through the whole thing as it went.
Mm-hmm.
Like that was when it was like, I was like, okay, cool. You get like this nice little kind of, oh, I get this kind of story over here, but this is the thread we're following, so somehow it's tied in. Oh, there's a Deadpool crossover issue. I don't really care about that issue, but I still picked up the issue and read it because there was that little thread thing that was going through, like, kind of that, like you said, that overarching story that's going on. So I actually like that style of editing. I think it helps keep the books interesting and fresh. And then Dan Slott took over, and I was like, okay, it's event after event after event after event after event, and then I got Spider evented fatigue. So, and then we don't talk about Superior.
What's wrong with Superior? Superior Spider-Man?
Yeah,
it's the best Spider-Man book in the last 20 years. Superior Spider-Man with Doc Ock by Dan Slott?
No. No.
Takes all kinds.
Yeah, no, it does.
Well, I'm excited about that Batman book.
Oh, go ahead.
I was just going to say, currently I'm getting my fix with that Batman and Robin Year One mini, which has been fantastic.
Great.
There's my random pick, Brock. If nobody's picked that up,
no, it's good. I read the first issue. I didn't get a chance to get to the second issues yet, subsequents. But it's like on my pile of I need to get.
Well, what's cool about it is Chris Samnee is credited as the co-plotter in the credits.
Oh, nice!
And you can really see it's like an art-driven book. The art's driving the book with the story, and this is not meant as a negative. The story trailing the art, but in a way where it feels just so fresh. You know what I mean? It's not like long word balloons, long text boxes, really slow-paced storytelling. It's very snappy and poppy and fast-moving. Yeah. Highest recommendation.
Yeah, no, I would second that, even though I've only read one issue. Like, it's on my pile of like, God, this is good stuff.
That was it, Ryan.
That's it.
Yeah.
Getting back to random picks, we gotta.
Yeah, no, I'm super excited for Batman. I mean, it's fucking Batman. Of course, it's gonna be good. And I was gonna say, Matt Fraction he hasn't written any superhero comics in years. He's been, doing some independent stuff, mostly working on the Godzilla show.
Monarch.
He's been working on that. Monarch, he has been working on that for a couple of years. So,
and he's done that like November. Like those things, those creator-owned projects.
Yeah, he's done his independent work still. Yeah, but I don't.
What was the last? Was the Defenders his last?
No, I mean like more for Marvel and DC. Yeah.
Last thing I can think of is the Defenders. I mean, I think he may have had a story in like one of those like Marvel 1000 or something like that.
Maybe. Yeah, it's been a long time. So yeah, it's big deal. Back doing North
And you
DC.
were there for the announcement.
I was. Although I swear this stuff already got I thought this stuff already got announced. Maybe it didn't, but they said it got announced at ComicsPro. Maybe I knew something I wasn't supposed to, but I don't know. But anyway, Supergirl, Crypto, and Mark Waid returning to Action Comics ongoing. All got announced at ComicsPro. We have our Summer of Superman, Sophie Campbell doing a Supergirl series launching in May, and I am very, very excited for Crypto, The Last Dog of Krypton by Ryan North, too. Should be very, very good.
Yeah, I might have to check
and Mike
that one
Martin.
out.
Yeah, so that's a mini-series, but
I'm going to give a few people a heart attack on this show. I read One World Under Doom.
Yeah.
And it was actually
good. It's really good. Yeah. I've read the first couple issues of this run of FF. I'm just hopelessly behind on a ton of comics. But I mean, Ryan North is good, and that FF run's been a lot of fun. Yeah, everyone said the Doom special was good. Or the Doom,
the One World Under Doom,
the Doom book was good.
I read it, and then I looked at the list of comics coming out, from it, and I was like, oh, bunch of tie-in shit, a bunch of new comics starting from it. Okay, I just need to read the handful of issues that say One World Under Doom.
Yeah. So this is going to be kind of a real, true, modern day origin of Crypto. So it's going to be not serious, but it's not going to be just sort of like, hey, he's here, and kind of. There's been weird post-crisis versions of Crypto.
Is this going to be an actual comic thing, or is this tied in with YA stuff?
No. This is a comic
thing. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, no, I'm just wondering because if not that it's I'm against it, but with the movie coming out and kind of the buzz behind it, there is
some YA stuff coming, there's some of that for Superman too, and I'm sure there'll be some Crypto related books that are kids' books or whatever. But no, this is a normal comic.
Okay.
And Mark Waid returning to take over Action Comics as the ongoing writer. They had their kind of Superman. What's it called? Superman something Superman. It was like their Superman Superstars, right? I think that's what it's been called.
I don't know.
They've had these rotating creative teams. But Wade's back to be the ongoing writer of Action Comics. And I did not even have to ask about the Legion. Someone else asked about the Legion.
Somebody beat you to that question?
Well, the pitch for Action Comics is that this is going to be about the adventures of Superboy and his dog Crypto. And immediately someone's like, are we going to see some Legion? And they were like, well, it's about Superboy, and Mark Waid loves the Legion, so we'll see what happens. So, you've heard it here first unofficially.
Is this our first putting it on the
Mark
pool?
Waid loves the Legion of superheroes, and it's possible they'll show up in his Superboy book.
His Legion stuff's good, so it's like, I don't mind.
I would expect the Legion will be in this book at some point.
I'm assuming this is also the launch of the new Supergirl outfit.
Yeah. So that's right. Yeah, because Artgerm designed a new Supergirl outfit, which looks cool. I mean, it looks like something Artgerm would design. I want to see kind of other characters work on this.
Creators.
I will have to see it kind of, not in motion, obviously not in motion, but we'll see it drawn over a couple weeks or months or years to kind of get a take on it. It's hard when you just see the Artgerm design because it's like it's Artgerm. So we'll see what.
Mm-hmm. Well, I'm assuming
when a normal human draws it, what it looks like.
5 issues with Artgerm covers anyway.
Yeah. I'm down with that. Not too much from Marvel. They announced kind of random crap. Sorry, they announced just kind of random garbage. But speaking of Chip Zdarsky earlier, he is back at Marvel. I mean, the Marvel DC thing was the big thing. I think this is gonna be a Jeff comic.
It's Jeff, baby. People,
cool if you like
Jeff.
Jeff. That's great. Chip Zdarsky and Valerio Sheedy launches. I never know how to pronounce her name. Launching Captain America. So Chip Zdarsky's back in Marvel. He'll be doing Captain America book.
So he left Batman to go do Cap.
He had a lot of very funny comments about finally someone from the 51st state gets to work on Captain America. So he's from Canada, if you didn't know.
Yeah, I got the joke. Thank you for explaining.
See, it's funny because
thank you for explaining it out because we needed that.
Yeah, I try. Yeah, so that's July. So we're gonna get no Cap for a little while, but we're getting Chip Zdarsky and Cap. So that should be good. Again, I love Chip Zdarsky, and his Batman run definitely people online hate it, which I didn't quite get. I think it suffered a little bit from that problem that Marvel had, where it's like you could move the story on, and it has now kind of at the end. It sort of spun its wheels a little bit. I really enjoyed every issue, but it just they needed to kind of move on from the plot they were on. So excited for that. Random other news that I thought was interesting. There was some independent stuff announced. Nothing too crazy. There was a number of new publishers. Ignition Press. There was another one. I had it here. Where is it? The Future Is. It's from a company called. I have it here. Rekka. Hacker backwards. REKCAH. They had a really interesting presentation. Jason Blanchard.
They just showed the movie Hackers backwards.
No, so he worked in cybersecurity, but was a huge comic fan and wanted to do some kind of techie thing, and he's part of this huge hacker group, and in real life. So both A Bad Idea and Rekka, it's tough, right? They're trying something different. Bad Idea, shockingly, is just going to put out comics. No weird hoops to jump. I mean, they've had good creators working on their titles. It's just you had to do all this weird shit to get them, and there was a lot of FOMO about getting these pins and all this weird stuff with them. It's like, you guys got some big names. Just
release the books.
You could do all of that, but just put out a good comic that a comic store can order. So they are. Starting with the next batch of books, they're all going to be just available to order. So we can carry Bad Idea comics with no hoops to jump through. Fantastic. They're going to be working with Bill Sienkiewicz, Mike Carey, bunch of other creators. Robert Venditti, obviously, he does a lot of stuff with Bad Idea. Matt Kent. So yeah, a bunch of horror books, a bunch of new stuff coming out. Dave Lapham's doing a book with Joshua Dysart and Bill Sienkiewicz. So that's great. I love Dave Lapham. He doesn't do a lot of work these days. So I'm very, very happy that that's just going to be available. And yeah, the Rekka, The Future Is the name of the book. It's a brand new company. It's 60 issues. They've already announced the whole thing. Fred Van Lant is doing it. The artist, I have it here. Anio Buffy. I'm not familiar with the artist, but they have an incredible lineup of cover artists. Every issue is going to have. I don't know if any of the reporting actually had a list of who the creators were, but they did say they did have a list at the convention. The first book is an oversized graphic novel. Every other issue will be a single issue, and they're one cover. There's these hacking, hacker puzzles within the book. So if you just read the book, you have the book normal, but there are these kind of puzzles and challenges that are in there, kind of hidden. There's they're part of this huge hacker community that does all these big conventions. So this is sort of aimed at a non-traditional comic audience. But comic fans can obviously read it and you get the story. And then if you kind of know more of the hacker world, there's additional stuff in the book, and they're yeah, this is completely funded they said they were already like into like the second or third year on the book. Like it's done. There's no concern about the book not finishing. And there was a couple other smaller publishers that had some pretty big claims. We'll see, right? Ignition Press, sorry. Same thing. Some really good talk. Gotta do it, right? Ignition's gonna have a lot of media with the comic at the same time. Real heavy cross promotion. Again, we'll see, right? These are big claims. They have money behind them. Hopefully it works, right? Because at the end of the day, comics cost nothing compared to a movie or a TV show or some big media thing. So, we've seen a lot of companies come into this space and nothing comes of it and they go away. So, we'll see if these guys can make it. I hope they do. I mean, the books look neat. They seem very passionate. They seem very cool. So hopefully they find an audience. Hopefully whatever their multimedia stuff takes off. But it's tough. It's tough just because it's kind of it's kind of against the world's sort of against you on some of this stuff. It's hard to find an audience, right? That's kind of the big challenge of comics these days is, can you drag people into the comic store that aren't normally comic people? It's a funky industry. Having to explain pre-orders and FOCs and subscriptions and, pre-orders. It doesn't work like a lot of, yeah. It's going to be a very interesting couple of years to see if the industry somehow cracks through and figures out a way to sell comics normally, because it's different than how it used to work. Comic Up's trying. We'll see if it gets there. Some of the other POSs are trying. So, yeah, interesting times. Very interesting times. It's all kind of like the
news,
the comic stuff. Yeah, it's very cool. Yeah, it's very neat. Yeah, I highly recommend going if you're in the area, if you're local, or even if you're not local and you want to travel and you work in the comic industry. You have to sign up. You have to pay. It's not cheap. It's not like going to a comic convention. It's it's like a conference, so it's more expensive. But yeah, really worth it, and got some cool swag and yeah. It's Toby. We want to hear about the auction now.
Yeah.
Kevin doesn't know about this.
Oh, it's awesome.
So they do an auction for Bink, the book charity that donates.
Oh God, I forgot all about Bink. Remember that from COVID, right? That was the Jim Lee stuff.
Yeah, so they've been around for a long time, right? But Bink obviously, and then they talked about this during the auction. They're like, yeah, but COVID kind of changed their structure and the amount of people they covered, because obviously this now opened up to a whole new world of people that needed money. We got some money from them, right? I mean, they basically said, yeah, if your store shut down, apply and we'll provide some funding, pay for payroll or pay for rent or something, and anything get a law, but hey, at the time it helped because we had no clue, right? Nobody had any idea what the hell was going to go on. So they had a huge lot of stuff up for auction. All donations, right, from ComicsPro members. And I'm kind of looking around and I'm like, yeah, some cool stuff. There's some cool stuff. Nothing I really need. I'm like, oh, there's this Jack Kirby book. That's kind of neat. And then I look down at it and it's like signed. So I pop it open. I've seen this book before. It's the Art of Jack Kirby hardcover slipcase edition, which was signed by Jack Kirby, limited to 1,000 copies. And so I didn't even catch who donated it. Like I didn't even think to look. Someone had donated their copy there. And I'm like, okay, well, I got a Stan autograph. Not too many ways to get a Jack Kirby autograph on this isn't just a random comic. This is like a real book. Super nice art book. I had a print for decades and decades, obviously, because he signed it and been dead for decades. I'm like, okay, well, this is a charity thing, and it's we've get a lot of free stuff here and help me pay for the trip and everything. I was like, okay. I kind of got a price in my mind. I'll throw some money up for this, and we'll see what happens when it comes up. And of course, it's been like the second thing that goes up for auction, and I'm like maybe the third thing. I'm like totally caught off guard because I thought it was like way down the far end. For some reason, I thought they were going to like kind of go in some order. They were just jumping around, and suddenly I didn't know where this thing's up for auction, and it goes pretty quick, right? And I'm like, okay, I got a number in my head, and let's see where this thing goes. So of course, within 2 seconds, boom, it's already at that number and beyond it. I'm like, all right, of course. And then it just stopped. And like nobody else was bidding. I'm like, I mean, I threw my hand up at one point, right? Because at the beginning, but it just went to me, then boom, 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 and bounced around. I'm like, all right, forget it. And then all of a sudden, I was like, oh. I put my hand, and they're like, oh, anyone else? I was like, yeah. And they're like, okay. And it went over, and then another guy, and then it bounced to another guy, and they're like, but they were going like smaller amounts, and I was like, it's getting. It was a little over what my number was, but you're in the fever of an auction, and I'm like, and they're like going once, I'm like going twice, and I just put my head down and I raised my hand, and they're going twice, and everyone starts cheering, and they're like, there it is. I'm like, okay, going once, going, and the other guy was like, I actually, it's funny, it's so funny. I apparently knew the other guy that was bidding against me. I didn't even realize it because he was on the other side of the room. I didn't even see who it was, but it was the other Comic Cup guy. He messaged me afterwards. He's like, God damn you, Ryan. He bought a ton of stuff. He actually, he was fine. Trust me. He bought a lot of stuff at this auction. So I ended up winning a signed Jack Kirby, Art of Jack Kirby book. So I got my Stan signature now and my Jack signature now. So yeah.
Very
super,
nice.
super fun. Really fun. And they ended up being the it was Bink's highest at least in the comic end. I don't know if they've I don't know numbers for the other auctions. Their highest grossing ever. So they had so much stuff that they couldn't even finish the regular auction. They had to put a bunch of it off to a silent auction on top of their other silent auction stuff. They were already raised, I think it was like $38,000 or $39,000 just from the live auction. So probably hit 45,000 maybe total, maybe higher. Which way blew past their highest. I think their previous one was like 32,000. So significantly higher than their last auction. There was some really cool. There's some really cool stuff in there because it came from personal collections. There was some, I actually did, it ended up going for hundreds and hundreds of dollars, way more than I wanted to spend on it. But there was a DC, like one of those books with one of those like 1987, presentation manual, right? So there was a bunch of stuff in there that never ended up getting published. Right, or a bunch of promos for stuff that never happened. So just one of those pamphlets. One of those presentation packages they would have internally. There were a couple of those up there. There was a lot of some original art. Ryan Benjamin, right? Toby, I sent you some pictures of that. He did a bunch of really cool sketches. Not sketches. I mean, they're full cover size commissions. He did a number of those. Donated those. Timmy, our buddy Timmy, he was one of the two. He didn't do the auctioning, but he went up and he was the model. Yeah, so he was showing everything.
Ooh,
a couple people were showing stuff around. Yeah, it was pretty funny.
Oh, he turned into Kevin.
Yeah. He I missed part of what he said. I think one of the things he donated, I think, went higher. He said like if this goes for like $400. He challenged another one of the guys to a push-up contest.
Oh yeah, I saw that.
Did you see that? Okay, yeah. So he ended up losing a push-up contest and had to pay $100 for had to donate $100 to the auction. Timmy. He put his work in. I mean, he didn't stand a chance, but he put his work in. He wasn't a slouch.
Yeah.
He did some good push-ups. Yeah, more than I could do for sure. Yeah. Really cool time. Really fun time. Some of the big stuff there was. some Golden Age comics. There were a lot of graded comics and some which went to some more of the collectors. Some advertising things, like advertisements in comics that you could buy. And yeah, super neat experience. Yeah, auctions are fun. Just get just get that bidding fever. So
it's a question, right?
Dangerous when there's an open bar.
Yeah, well, they kept telling people to go back to the bar. Yeah. They're like, Cadandra's paying for it, people. Keep drinking.
Yeah. The art auction at that Orlando con had like 3 open bars, satellite bars around the hall. And those numbers got crazy, but it's all fun.
Crazy. Right.
That'll be bad news.
Yeah. But yeah, I think that was ComicsPro. Very cool experience. Yeah, definitely want to try to go back. And big shout out to Chris and Jessica too. They were so much fun hanging out with. Again, we had them on the podcast a few months back, and their shop's been open for about 9 months at this point. And just really cool getting to hang out with someone that we've talked to on the show and had what kind of had access to kind of the early days of them opening the shop and had to answer a bunch of questions and ask them questions too, right? Because it's a great learning experience. Just trying to see what they're doing and how they're doing stuff differently. And yeah, it's just a real positive experience overall.
Sweet.
Now I have to go sell all these promo comics I got so I can pay for my check or in my hotel. Guys, I want to talk some Captain America.
Sure. No.
Why don't you guys start? You guys can
no spoilers.
Non-spoiler for Kevin. What have you seen? Have you seen trailers?
Okay, so before we started recording, I told you guys I've been to the theater a lot in like the past couple months.
Yeah, you've seen the trailer like 6 times.
I have heard that trailer a dozen times, but I have seen all of that trailer 0 times.
Yeah. I mean, is it a? So I mean, I guess we'll ask. Is it a not interested, just burnt out?
I would watch. Okay. I want to get to the movie, so let me just say this briefly. I cannot tell you how badly my will and my soul were broken by Quantum Mania and Secret Invasion. Like, there's just no coming back. It's been really hard. So you've got to. Daredevil, I'm in. Obviously, FF, I'm in. But it's taken a long slog to get back to this point. But the original Captain America trilogy is like my favorite set of Marvel movies from the first run. Like if you just take all of the series, the characters as a set, their movies, that's my favorite. So I should be all over this. Go ahead, you guys start.
Yeah, no, of course. Yeah, why don't we go? Brock, you saw it last night. Toby saw it a few days ago. Lane, you didn't watch this, right?
No, I was going to watch it this week.
Okay. Do you care if we talk? Do you care about you want to hang out? Care about spoilers? Well, let's get Brock and Toby.
Okay.
Let's get their thoughts first. Brock, you just saw it. You saw it most recently. You just watched it. What do you think?
It was fine. Like, so Kevin talked about.
I got to hang up, guys. I got to go to the theater now. After that,
yeah. No, Kevin talked about like kind of the getting back to a Marvel movie, and yeah, with Ant-Man, Quantumania, I didn't even watch Secret Invasion. With just kind of the slog of the TV shows and kind of just this, like everyone's like, well, Deadpool, and I'm like, Deadpool just didn't. Deadpool did what it needed to do, but it didn't make me excited about anything new. So going into this, I didn't know very much, except for like what clips you saw in trailers and stuff like that. It was good. Like I wasn't disappointed with it, but it didn't open anything like, oh my God, this is groundbreaking or it's amazing. Toby?
I watched it twice.
So you did go back?
Yeah. And guess what? I missed the same bit in the same time. I caught a little more from the front, and I caught a little more from the end, but I missed the same shit in the middle. So there must be some.
You missed the middle of the movie
twice.
Wait. When you say the middle, are you talking about like 10 minutes?
Whatever is in the middle of the movie. But I don't know how long. I just stuff's not connecting.
Okay.
Yeah. The first time I watched it, I didn't feel like there's a reason for me to go back to watch it. I just there was no excitement at all for me to go back. For this podcast, I decided to go back, and I think my standing still stands with my first opinion of this movie. So, I think Ryan liked it a lot more than I did because I did not very much enjoy it. I feel like the reshoots done this movie bad, not dirty, but like it didn't work. I'm actually, this is one of the movies I'm very, very curious to see the original version. I'm very curious to see the original idea for it because I think the reshoots and the redoing the story did not do this movie any favors.
I think that leaves you, Ryan.
Yeah. I mean, I think we talked about, expectations of any of this stuff going forward, and I was hopeful. I thought the trailers looked fun. I went in with no real expectations, just said, okay, well, let's see what they do. My fear is always, what's going to be just, I don't know, just a bunch of dumb post-credit scenes. And I guess it is
a lot post-credit scenes.
Well, we'll talk about that. I mean, I guess it is a lot of references to another movie. But I don't know. I kind of liked it. Yeah, like
Ryan!
It just like hold on. I can see the seams. I can see the flaws. Yes, clearly. I mean, Kevin, this isn't.
No, go ahead.
You know the Hulk's in this movie. The Red Hulk's in this movie.
Yeah, I've heard him roar 25 times in the last 3 months.
Clearly, there was a Serpent Society movie that they were going to make, and then at some point they said, "We need something a little bit more."
I think I would prefer the Serpent Society movie.
Well, so they decided to make a sequel to The Incredible Hulk as well.
Yep.
So you can kind of see that there's like two movies sort of shoved together here, right?
Yep.
It is not perfect in any regards. There's a couple scenes where you're like, yes, clearly they had to go back in. These people are not in the same room together. There's some bad green screening of people against, the scene I'm talking about.
The end?
Towards the end, yeah.
Well,
I
have a lot to say about that.
Yeah, we'll get to that.
This is one of the reasons why I wish Kevin watched it, because there's a lot of things that were so little that I think would have made such a big difference if they were just tweaked a little tiny bit.
Yeah. Sure, right. I am not going to sit here and say this is a great movie under any circumstances, but it was a fun. If the further adventures of Captain America, right? This is the problem I think these movies are going to have, and maybe already have started having, right? Is they're now just the ongoing comic books, right? Which is not interesting to most people. There's a reason why people will read Dark Knight and Civil War and Watchmen, and they don't have 1,400 issues of Batman or 900 issues of Amazing Spider-Man, right? Because most of the ongoing adventures just
exist.
They're just there, right? And there's good runs for sure, but people will show up for the event, right? When the comic movie started, every Batman movie, Superman movie was an event. X-Men came out, that was an event. Spider-Man came out, that was an event. Iron Man, people were like, okay, well, we like these. And, Avengers, that was the event. It just changed the world, right? But when you're 40 movies in, 50 movies and TV shows in, it's just kind of another story. So, there's lunatics like me that love the ongoing, continued, further adventures of Character X forever and ever. But that is not most people. So yeah, it's just another Captain America story. And if this came out 15 years ago, I think like a lot of these movies, like, Craven and Morbius we talked about, and, if Blue Beetle, right? Or like Aquaman 2, right? If any of these movies came out 15, 20 years ago, people are like, this is the greatest movie that's ever been made. We've never seen anything like this. Now it's like, just another movie, just another thing. It's the same as all the rest, right? Just like the comics. They don't, just another comic, just the same as all the rest. So they're just not important, right? And I'm not, and that's fine, right?
Well, I think you actually kind of hit something on the head there with that. These are just the mainstream comics now. It's like, this issue is so this movie is the one that it, like, sorry, Kevin and Lane, I'm spoiling something. This is the first appearance of adamantium.
Don't spoil for Kevin, Brock.
Wait.
Brock.
What degree of spoiler are you talking about here?
What was that?
Brock, if you want to spoil something, we'll let Kevin go.
Oh, okay.
Let me just ask you guys before I bounce, so you guys can talk.
You missed that part of the conversation.
Let me just ask this.
It lagged out for you guys on me.
So I really like, in the comics, I really like the Falcon as a character. I do not like the Falcon as Captain America. I just don't like that. That combination is like ranch dressing and peanut butter to me. It's like there are two things I like separately, but they just don't go together. How is that? The first movie, that show was not good. I think we all kind of agree on that.
Yeah.
But how is it as a movie lead?
I mean, I think there is the bones of a really good, important man versus country story there that just doesn't get the time it deserves. They start to build something up, and it clearly, probably would have happened 5 years ago if we were not in the political world we were today. I wonder if Disney was like, we gotta maybe pull back a little bit on some of the more racially overt tones in this movie.
Oh, you mean all the thing that was
knows?
good about the TV show that they didn't really touch on, that everybody was like, oh, you should have dove into that more.
Yeah. No, I mean, there's I think some really good scenes in this movie that just, they're important, but again, you could tell there's a more down to earth, serious story, and then there's fighting the Hulk, right? So these two things sort of get shoved together, like you said, that might not taste good together for everyone. But I just took it as it's, we'll see these, again, in the comics, there'd be another arc after this with some of these characters returning and more stuff going on. But that's not how movies work. Well, sometimes they do, but I don't think we're going to get a sequel to this, or, I don't expect most of these plot points will get picked up. So, again, it's far, far from perfect, but it is, I think a fun comic adventure. If you want something more than that, that's not what this is.
All right. On that note, I'll bounce. Brock.
Yeah.
Free fire.
Like, I want to hear Toby really go off on it. So yeah.
All right, guys.
I don't disagree with some of this, but yeah.
No, like I was gonna say before, I think mine wigged out, but you're kind of right in this is the first appearance of adamantium in the MCU, right? We had the cameo appearance of it in the Eternals, but we have the actual appearance of it in this movie, and it's kind of like it's just introducing the next, like it's just like everything's being introduced, like, and it's like, yeah, I get it. But like you said, there was good things in this that, you know, were interesting and cool to watch. But I think threads from Incredible Hulk and, you know, the Falcon Winter Soldier TV show and, you know, the history of the Captain America movies, there's just something this movie does, like, it's like Kevin had said, like the first three are amazing, and then this is just kind of it has Captain America on it. Like if it was called Falcon Brave New World, I'd be like, all right, cool.
Mm-hmm.
Like, or even just Sam Wilson Brave New World, right?
Well, they start to try to get into what it's like taking over the mantle, or the mantle, the shield, and being a black man in America today. But they clearly, right, but they were going to obviously still address that in the movie, and they, with Isaiah Bradley, and they don't clearly go far enough with that, right?
Yeah, that is one of the things. And again, the biggest disappointment about the show was that Isaiah Bradley stuff was like, I'm like, I want to watch that. Like, that's what I want to see. Like that, you know, that second, you know, he's experimented on with the super soldier serum, and like, I was like, Jesus, just give me an episode in the past with him, right? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know if you know, that they've thought, the show took care of it, we're not going to deal with it. I think that's a bad idea, because clearly the show is only watched by so many people. You hope the movie's is made by a whole lot more people, is watched by a whole lot more people. So I expected that, you know, then they do kind of get into it a little bit, right? He's working for the government, and Isaiah Bradley obviously is very distrustful of it. So they do retouch on some of those themes, but yeah, they just didn't take it anywhere near anywhere far enough. I thought they were going to go way more into that stuff, but again, I'm not too surprised that Disney didn't.
I started to see the similarities in this movie with similarities from like things from Winter Soldier, when you know, Cap and Black Widow are going, like, they go off grid to go to the old army base, right? And then this was basically Sam and Falcon going off grid to go to the offsite, right? Like, it was like, geez, a lot of this stuff is happening very similar for each, you know, from each movie to each movie. And I was like, okay.
So what's up, Toby? You got thoughts? I want to hear them.
At the beginning and the end, but not the middle.
Well, I missed the middle, so, you know, I can't speak for that. No, look, what pisses me off more than anything is missed opportunities, and I feel like there were a few quite big ones missed in this one. Like, you're kind of like you're banking on the emotional gravitas of, you know, Thunderbolt Ross and his daughter's relationship, and yet you have her come at the end of the movie at the in jail, instead of being the piece that gets, you know, the Red Hulk to calm down. Like, the Red Hulk fights Falcon, and Falcon talks him down once and didn't work, and then he talks him down again, and it works the second time. Like, I thought that was just really bizarre. Like, that was the time to bring Betty Ross in. That is the time to get, you know, him out of the Hulkness. So I thought that was just a very much a missed opportunity instead of bringing her at the very end. And also I thought both of those conversations were really the worst written dialogues of all time. Like, didn't seem like she cared about her dad at all. And and she might have just not been happy with her dad, but I still think both pieces of dialogue were pretty darn bad. Like, they just did not work for me at all. And while I think it would have been huge if she showed up at the to calm Red Hulk down. And the other piece I really didn't like was they keep referring to Falcon being the human, the one that didn't take the serum. Like, they mentioned it a couple of times throughout the movie. And you never tie it off. Like, even when he fights Red Hulk, he's like, I forgot who he said. He was like, either Isaiah's full of shit or Steve is like, I forgot what name he dropped, but he was like, he's full of shit. I should have taken the serum, right? While he's fighting the Hulk. Sure, while he's fighting the Hulk, he's a little underpowered. So that's why he wants it. But what would have been really beautiful was when he goes back and visits the new Falcon in the hospital bed. When Falcon, they had the little sweet, the little chat, about what makes things work and so on. Like, it would have been so nice when Falcon goes, "I wanted to be you because you were the one without the powers. He wasn't Tony Stark, a crazy brilliant scientist. He wasn't a guy with a super serum. He wasn't the Hulk. He wasn't he was a dude, which I felt like at that point you tie all that stuff back together, and it would have been actually really nice. But yeah, there's and then the missing links between the scenes, I thought it was a little weird. Like, I think this is because it got edited after the fact, and they did the rewrites and the reshoots. But I'm so curious what the original movie was. I'm so curious. I half think the Hulk was added just because they didn't have a big enough bang to sell the movie.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So I think,
I think it clearly felt like there was going to be Serpent Society stuff.
Yeah.
And the leader and Hulk were just kind of, like the leader controlling the Serpent Society. I'm not totally against, but there isn't big fight.
Well, did you see the? I don't know how. I mean, I don't know if they're real, but did you see the pictures with the characters that got cut out? That there was more Serpent Society characters, including that.
Yeah, your girl was supposed to be in there.
I mean, I was like, look, besides being a Diamondback fan, I was just bummed out because I feel like, all the Marvel Captain America movies have touched upon Grunwald stuff and kind of just taken the Grunwald stuff and kind of not taking it serious, basically. Crossbones is kind of a side character that comes and goes. Updating the Serpent Society to mercenaries makes sense because having a bunch of snake people walking around might be a little tough. So I don't mind the update to being mercenaries. But man, I really kind of would have liked to see just a really cool espionage movie in the way Winter Soldier was, instead of having that big Red Hulk show up at the end. And I still think that's a last minute ad. And then on top of it, I kind of wish they didn't bank all their marketing on it. Like, when I was watching it, look, we all know Thunderbolt Ross is the Red Hulk.
He's barely in it.
Yeah, but if they just didn't blasted that through all the trailers and the movie posters, which, look, it makes for a cool poster. It's easier to sell. I totally get it. I would have liked to have gotten that moment in the theater where, oh shit, they're actually going there. I would have preferred that personally. I obviously like Harrison Ford. I actually really enjoy Anthony Mackie. I like what they're trying to do with his cap. But I wanted to see so much more Isaiah Bradley. I think that deserved. I might have even would have liked if they opened the movie with a flashback of Isaiah Bradley stuff, or while he's in jail. When they throw him back in jail, I would have liked to see that. But there's maybe the whole espionage and political tones were taken way down after certain things happened in this country. Maybe they may have turned it into just a fun action flick. I'm very, very, very curious what the original movie was. I'm very curious. What they put together didn't quite work for me. I think if they maybe left some of the other stuff in there a little more and maybe worked on some the story a little more, like 20 minutes longer, maybe I would have liked it better. But as it stands, I'm not a big fan. Now, yes, I missed the middle twice. So take all my.
So you missed the fight. I mean, yeah.
Take all my points with a grain of salt. Like I fully admit that I missed some stuff in the movie. Right, I'm fully admitting that. But both times I'm like, I'm not sure I like this movie.
So you missed all the stuff them fighting Japan over the adamantium or any of that?
The plane flight shit, and then somehow the new Falcon gets taken down in that. I missed that both times. Yeah. By the way, was Red Hulk black-haired in the comics too? He was, right?
Yes.
And the Thunderbolt Ross is white-haired?
Yeah. Yeah, sounds right.
In the comics, I guess it didn't really butter me that much, but in the movie, I was like, oh, that's weird. His hair genes came back. But that's completely besides the point, though. But I just feel like little tiny tweaks would have gone a long way in this movie, and it bothers me the hell that they just didn't do it. But that's just my opinion of it. I would have liked to see a lot more Isaiah Bradley. I thought there's got something nice going on there. But yeah. Anyways, that's my 2 cents.
Yeah. No, I don't necessarily agree with a lot of these things. I think there's a totally different movie in there that was going to be made. I think there's a lot of stuff that got cut. Like I said, that scene at the end where they towards the end where they capture Leader, like that scene was poorly CG'd.
That scene was a piece of shit. I was like, what the fuck is this?
It was weird because it was
like, understand the leaders. Like, he wanted to turn Ross into a monster. Okay, fair enough. And like when he's done, he just like showed up and go, "My work is done, so therefore I get captured."
I think he thought Hulk was gonna do something, right?
I guess. No, he like just showed up and like was having a conversation with Sam, and it was like, yeah, I want the same thing you do.
Well, I think it's more of trying to so is he doing something, probabilities, this is the best course of action for him to be on the raft, right? Like it's one of those things where it's like, I can see it if we see something down the road with this, but after this, I don't really see us seeing too much of that character anymore.
Yeah. Well, because his also talking about him in the raft and his little like flew for a moment. That was the other stuff. Yeah, I almost wish it just didn't bother with that.
Ryan, you had told me before I went and saw it that the end credit scene was just eh.
It would have been ballsy for them to not do an end credit scene. I would have liked it.
Yeah, the end credit scene is the worst part of the movie by far.
Yeah.
Because it's totally meaningless. It's like, yeah, there's just not. There isn't anything. Just leaders like, yeah, so the others are coming. It's like, okay, what does that mean? What is that? That's nothing.
We don't know what we're doing with the future.
Right. It was just like so generic and had like, it was like, okay, yeah, this they clearly have no idea. They just put this in there because they have to have an end credit scene. So yeah, that was by far and away the worst part of the movie.
May I say, what is up with the cameo of Winter Soldier?
Oh, I actually walked out to go to the bathroom because I knew that scene was was going to be
okay, again,
wasteful.
I think that was a scene that was thrown. That feels like a scene that was thrown in at he's running for off. He's running to like senator or something.
What is that?
Huh?
So that's not kind of lining up what they're doing with Thunderbolts. Number one,
no,
right?
No,
number two, are they trying to set him up to be like the next Thunderbolt Ross and being the president? Like where is this shit going? Like how is Winter Soldier trying to run for senator? That goes against everything he's doing at the moment.
Yeah. I don't know.
It's a really, really bizarre place to put him or hint stuff at. Yeah. So I don't know. There's like multiple things in this movie. I was like, wait, what? And I don't mind. Like I always like if you want to do something new, do it. Like, but if you're gonna do weird little hints at other things and they're just so completely weird, it's like it throws you out. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know.
I will say,
like I said, there are clearly some scenes in the movie that don't work and some dumb things. I'm not saying it's perfect, but for the superhero action stuff, I thought it was fine. So it just sort of tells its story and it's done. It doesn't go anywhere after, which I like that it's just kind of its own thing, and you can basically ignore the. I mean,
I really like that they're trying to have Anthony Mackie be a different Captain America than Steve was, which they're really trying with his humor, him trying to talk to people a little more than probably Steve did, right? So I him knowing a little bit of other languages, a little more inclusive. I enjoy all of that stuff, not saying he's better than Steve, it's just different than Steve, and I respect and enjoy where they're going with that. It's just little things would have made this movie a whole lot better. And it boggles my mind that they didn't do it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. All right, and that's the question. What did they originally want to do? How many rewrites came in? Why did they decide to do this? Did they have something more political and they pulled back from it, which I think is likely.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Now, if that was,
which is unfortunate.
If that was the thing, do you think we'll ever see the original movie?
No.
No. I mean, they don't do that.
Yeah, just bummed. I mean, I think maybe that's my biggest conclusion out of all of this.
Mm-hmm.
Because
So I did not go watch it opening night or the opening weekend. I went the second weekend, and I went on Sunday. I still checked movie tickets and stuff, available seats on Friday night, and I could have gotten one of the back row seats that we normally sit in on Friday night, and there was barely any seats sold. When I eventually, because I went to the 8:00 show on Sunday night last night, there were people there, but there was 3 people in my row in the back row.
Oh yeah.
You guys know that I wanted to go watch Paddington Bear first. That was I want to support that movie. I want to see that first. I was getting out of work late. I was like, you know what? I could watch a movie tonight. Let me look it up. There were harder to find seats in Paddington Bear than there was Cap, so I decided to go do Cap instead.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, it fell 68% on its second week at the box office, so not quite as bad as Ant-Man and Wasp, but closer to Multiverse of Madness and Thor: Love and Thunder. And Ant-Man 3 completely tanked, and like Marvels and a few of the others really, really crapped out. People went and saw Cap because it was the big movie, and nobody went to see it the second week, and nobody will see it the third week. So this is, unfortunately, I think just the state of the comic movies now, right? Unless, like I said before, unless it's a big event, we're getting Thunderbolts, which I expect will do similar. I expect similar. Thunderbolts will not.
I'm totally calling it Red Hulks and Thunderbolts.
Fuck. FF has a chance to be something. It's new. If it gets good reviews, I think it'll do good. But if the reviews are bad, FF's gonna have a real hard upsell to just casual fans. And we get 2 Avengers movies. That's it. And like none of this other stuff is happening. We're getting Daredevil, and they'll shit out Ironheart later in the year.
That's been filmed. Daredevil's going to be awesome.
I hope so.
I really think.
I hope so. But you know what? It's good. We need less.
Yeah.
Just do 1 movie a year, 1 show a year, if that. Have it be good. Just less. Make them count. Make them meaningful.
Yeah.
I think we are not going to see 6 to 8 comic movies in 10 plus shows.
That's fine.
A year.
Yes, are better.
Yeah,
that's fine.
I'm 100%.
I'm all in.
Yeah, I'm 100% fine with that.
Well, sitting down and watching trailers, I was like, okay, so there's 5 movies coming out that I'm like, okay, I'll go watch.
Yeah, go watch other stuff. It's good stuff.
Well, no, like comic book movies. I'm gonna go watch Thunderbolts, right? I'm gonna watch Fantastic Four. I'm gonna watch Superman Legacy. I saw the trailer for The Ballerina, so I'm like, okay, I'm gonna go watch that. And I can't remember what the other one was. Aren't we getting another comic book thing?
The window cleaner?
No.
Another comic movie?
I thought there was
Superman, Fantastic Four, Thunderbolts. That's all the rest of this year, right?
Okay. I thought there was something else.
Superheroes next year.
Okay.
Avengers is next year.
Yeah. I thought there was something else coming out.
Oh, you have Ryan's favorite actor.
Who's that?
Tom Cruise.
In what?
Mission Impossible.
No.
Unless you're thinking about the next season of Invincible.
No, well, I don't remember.
I got Mission Impossible, Lilo and Stitch, Karate Kid Legends, Ballerina, the new Jurassic World, the Smurfs, and then it's Superman and Fantastic Four, and then Tron. Which I don't think that's Tron to the sequel of the Tron movie I want to see.
Oh God, no! That second Tron movie was horrible.
What?
It was pretty bad.
This is why I know we're always on opposite. You like a movie, I don't like it.
Do you like what the hell was it called? Tron
Legacy.
Legacy? Oh, it's terrible.
Oh, dude, that was awesome.
What?
Yeah.
No. I love the original Tron.
Oh my God, no! See, well, I actually like the original too, but it seems like anything after the '80s, we're on opposite sides. So please go watch the Thunderbolts and completely hate it. Because if you love it, then I'm in big trouble.
Oh, you'll just like it because what's her face, isn't it?
It's gonna be awesome. It's gonna be awesome. Yeah, keep that attitude. It's gonna be awesome.
I hope it is.
It's gonna be awesome. I'm willing it. They have that giant Wheaties box at the AMC. I wanted to steal it.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
So, should people go see Captain America, Brave New World?
I mean, it depends on what you want.
They should make their own. Opinion about it.
Yeah. Yep. Again, I just that there's fun action. That there was fun stuff, but I do not disagree with any of your complaints, really.
Oh, the other thing, I kind of wished, you know that former Black Widow that works for Ross.
Mm-hmm. Oh, they totally killed. They totally changed her character too. She's supposed to be Sabra, right?
Yeah.
She's supposed to be.
First of all, that's a character name, right? Like nothing like the comics.
Yeah. They totally scrapped. They totally changed that character.
Why couldn't if they were gonna tie in other stuff? Why couldn't it get Mockingbird back?
Who knows? Yeah, it.
If they gotten her from the Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. show, oh man,
yeah,
that would have been a really really cool, nice surprise. Like that she now works for Ross, and That would have been cool. Like that would have been, as a fan of the Marvel Cinematic shit, that would have made me really happy. Like that would have gotten it some credit, some Marvel street credit in my eyes, at least. So
I mean, it feels like they had again a much more political story planned and then said,
yeah, but even then,
never mind.
I'm like, tell me that Mockingbird couldn't have easily filled that role, and it would have been more fun as a fan.
Well, they couldn't have put so if they did include Mockingbird, they would have had to include, and I don't know if they did or not, Agent Shield. You would have had to have asked her about her feminist agenda, right? That T-shirt, that cover that she's wearing, the T-shirt on with the cup of coffee.
Not my point, but yeah, whatever.
Like I said, I'm assuming they didn't want to. They were like, let's cut let's cut a lot of the politics out of this movie. Yeah. So there you go.
Yeah.
I think it's worth checking out. I think it's fun. It's not great. It's enjoyable. It's some fun superhero action. Just going expecting,
I do
further adventures of Captain America.
I do like the Anthony Mackie has to build a new Avengers tease. That actually does have me kind of interested in how he's going to put it together and how he's going to choose people. I actually kind of like that.
Yeah, I hope they do something with it.
A customer,
I hope it's completely different than what we think it is.
I think a customer over the weekend summed up the movie very, very well. He said it's the second season of Falcon or Winter Soldier with just Falcon as Captain America.
Kinda.
It's just the second season of that show, or like.
Well, obviously it was going to be somewhat related, right? Because I mean, it's the same character, right?
Yeah.
So, I always use Toby's thing with Falcon Winter Soldier. It's like he has the shield at the beginning of the thing, and he's got the shield at the end, right? Like,
I mean, the show is about him coming into grips at how big this thing is, and him being okay with it. So that's fine with me. So I think it was okay the way they built it, because you could watch the movies without watching the show.
Yeah.
So that was somewhat fine with what they were doing. It was just like, yeah, they left the character where they left it in the last movie. It's like, now I'm going to be Captain America.
Yep. Now I'm Cap. Listen to me.
Oh. There you go. It's Captain America.
Yeah.
Go watch it for yourself. See if you like it.
Should have watched Pat.
Serpent World. What the hell is it called?
Serpent Society.
The hell is the movie called? Serpent World.
New World Order.
It's Brave New World. Jesus fuck.
Serpent World.
No, it's Brave New World.
Got it.
Just think it's basically the title of the Aldous Huxley novel.
Man, to think that Diamondback was in the movie. Holy shit.
Yeah, I wasn't expecting Giancarlo Esposito to walk out in a snake costume.
That would have been funny.
That would have been amazing. But I wish they would have had a little bit more at the Serpent Society.
Yeah.
They're just kind of some hired goons, which is like okay, like not great, but yeah. That's all I've got.
I really do wish I could have seen the original movie.
Yeah.
Maybe one day, Toby.
All right. We're going to wrap up. Thank you all very much for listening to this podcast. Talking about ComicsPro and Captain America and everything else.
Hey.
For
once, Ryan liked the Marvel movie.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a milestone.
I give it like a B,
That's like a lot better than I thought it was, but damn, dude, that's a milestone.
I'll put it with like Iron Man 2 and like Thor Dark World and stuff. Like, it was fun.
Yeah.
That's pretty good for all the listeners saying, Marvel hater. He gives it a B. Look at that.
Yeah. If I think it's fine, I'll tell you it's fine. Like, I Thunderbolts is going to be rough.
No. Thunderbolts is gonna be awesome. Gonna be awesome.
I want us all to sync up and go watch Thunderbolts together, just to record our reaction, like live reaction afterwards.
Gonna be awesome.
Like I think we should do that.
Ryan, this movie is gonna be awesome.
I hope it is. As long as they cut out all the bad jokes from the trailer, as long as none of that's in there.
Marvel logo is gonna come up. It's awesome.
Did you notice that they didn't have the Marvel logo? They didn't have the Marvel thing in this.
Yeah.
No, they did not.
Yeah, a black and white one, didn't they?
No. They didn't do the.
They didn't do the
page,
song.
They didn't do the song
or the page. Black Marvel logo.
Nope.
No, so they did the.
Oh, there may have been. It was like in the corner of just like the start. Yeah.
They
did talking about? It was like in the beginning of the movie.
In the beginning of the movie, they did an old black and white kind of newsreel type thing.
Yeah,
that didn't really.
But it Marvel didn't logo right on it.
But it didn't fit with the.
They did not have the song. They did not have the flip.
Yeah,
logo.
Do something new. It's a new world order, right?
Yeah, I'm just saying. I'm just saying they didn't do it. It's the first time. So
yeah.
Any of the other stuff.
But then Thunderbolts is come on, and it's going to have a black Marvel logo, and it's going to be awesome. It's going to fade to black, and the fucking black is going to be awesome. And the music is going to come on, the music's going to be awesome. And then, like, Red Guardian is going to say something silly, it's going to be awesome. Yeah. You guys will see in, like, wait, is this like May? It might be more than a couple of weeks.
I don't know. When's Thunderbolts?
It's May. I think it's May.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's more than a couple of weeks. We got Daredevil beforehand. See, it's going to be awesome. Yeah. You're going to have Daredevil and Thunderbolts. It's going to be. And Andor. Did you see the Andor trailer today? Holy shit. It's going to be a good old time.
I think the Andor trailer was for people that hated the first season.
What are you talking about? I
think that Andor trailer was for people that were like, it's too boring.
What are you talking? The first season was fucking amazing.
No,
I love the first season.
He's talking about the general reaction for people online.
But a lot of people hated Andor.
Well, they're all stupid.
I agree, but they thought it was...
Are you serious?
Oh, yeah.
What are you talking about? Every single person I talked to that watched Andor thinks it's one of the greatest things of all time.
You talk to very smart people then. No. Most of the internet dislikes Andor. They think it's very bad and boring.
No way.
The reviews were good, but not
like Andor.
100%.
What?
Yeah, 100%.
It's only got like the best monologue of all of Star Wars in the fucking show.
I mean, I think Andor is the best of the Star Wars stuff by far of the modern
it's
stuff.
not even close.
Right.
Like,
no, I agree.
Not even close on how good this shit is.
Yeah, I agree. But they, people definitely, some people definitely don't like it. A lot of people don't like it. I think it's too boring. This trailer felt like it was made for them. Be like, no, look, we've got action, we promise. So,
all right.
Yeah, kind of strange.
Audiences don't know that trailer was build up.
That trailer was not. I was like, this seems odd for Andor because this doesn't feel like what the first season was like at all. So
I'm hyped.
I mean, I hope it's good. I love the first season. Yeah. So
yeah, like I will actually pay Disney for Disney Plus when Andor 2 drops and it's done. Like I won't do it for the like bit by bit by bit, but when it's all said and done, I'll pay for Disney Plus, and hopefully I'll still be able to watch The Acolyte.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they might have pulled it.
No, I doubt it.
I don't know, man.
No, they're not gonna pull that shit. Daredevil, Andor, and Thunderbolts. It's gonna be a glorious couple months.
Let's hope. We're gonna wrap up because I'm tired. Hey, thanks to Edward at GeekyVillain.com. Joe Duff, Kelsey May, Craig Anderson at the Executive Evolution Podcast, and Jimmy Rivera at the Social Forum Podcast, as well as DDT Wrestling Podcast.
Yes, wrestling podcast now?
at DDT Wrestling Podcast on YouTube. Yes.
Now, is he wrestling?
Junior Jimmy. Huh?
Is Jimmy wrestling?
I don't know. I assume not, but maybe
wrestling.
he
I'll
is.
tune in.
You should listen. You should watch his. You should watch his podcast and video stuff on YouTube at DDT Wrestling Podcast if you like wrestling. I've never been a wrestling guy. I mean, I was like when I was a little kid, but like I never stuck with it. I know so many people that are like so hardcore into wrestling. I never, it's a bunch of buff guys in tight costumes punching each other. I just don't see the appeal. The appeal
was Sting being the Crow and hanging out the rafters, watch them and punishing them for all.
I'm just gonna sit back and read my Spider-Man, Superman, and Batman comics. I just don't get the appeal of buff guys and tight costumes punching each other.
The appeal is not the punching. The appeal is the trash talking.
And all the melodrama and stuff. Yeah, I just don't get it. Just don't see the appeal. I don't see why. I'm joking, Toby. I'm joking. Go to ComicsPiracyPodcast.com. Find all our previous episodes on there. If you go to Patreon.com/ComicConspiracy, you can kick us a couple bucks for hosting this podcast. Always appreciate it. And you can pick up some comics from us at ComicsConspiracy.biz. Brock's got his website, conspiratorBrock.com. He's not doing too much these days, but you never know. Maybe there's some stuff on there worth looking at. Our friend Charlie has the Wanderers in the Fourth Dimension podcast, all about Doctor Who. And Kevin's interview series Between the Panels at fanbasepress.com, and a page I love at Comic Art Live on YouTube. And my wife Leanne is at leannehill.com. You can see her artwork on there. If you're on Blue Sky, I'm Ryan Higgins. Brock is Brock Sager. Toby is Toby XI. You say you tried to log in the other day and you couldn't?
Yeah, I fucking hate that
site. Fuck.
Fuck.
This is Twitter all over again.
And Kevin is at Kevin Sharp.
Now Toby.
And Comics Conspiracy is Comics Conspiracy at Comics Conspiracy, all one word, on Blue Sky. I do have a Comics Conspiracy Blue Sky account now, which I'm starting to post on. So if you just want to follow store news and links to comics.
Oh, no. My problem was I couldn't copy paste the link. I wanted to do a post for once and it didn't work, but then now it works.
That's real weird. Yeah. Just copy and paste.
Toby, if we keep this podcast on for another 7 minutes, we'll have actually gone the run time of Captain America: Brave New World.
Oh, we could definitely talk about something for 7 minutes. We talk about how fucking great Jimmy Butler has been for the Golden State Warriors. 5-1, baby. 5-1.
The rumor is the Fantastic Four movie is 99 minutes long.
What?
That was the rumor that came up over the last week. So
why 99?
Yeah. Just it was like 100. I believe the rumor was 139 or what is that? 99 or
90 minutes.
1 hour
and a half.
1 hour. What's that? 1 hour 29 minutes.
No, it's 1 hour 39.
No, 1 hour 39 minutes.
So
1 hour 39
with
minutes.
the credit roll of like 5 minutes, you're looking at like an hour and 34-minute movie or something.
I mean, I just
reporting what the internet 99 minutes. That seems like kind of short for an FF movie that has to cover a lot of ground.
Just reporting what the internet says. So who knows? We'll find out. But yes, that's what everyone is thinking as well. That's a very short movie for Fantastic Four.
There's a lot of ground they got to cover. They got like, Sad Thing. They got Silly Torch. Yeah, that's like,
Mr. Fantastic and the Invisible Woman have to have a spat somewhere where Namor pops in. I don't know.
You mean Namor?
Namor, whatever.
Oh, I don't think that's happening in that universe. Oh, what if it does happen and it's Namor? Huh?
He's
Ryan?
the other?
Ryan?
What?
What if Namor does show up and it's actually Namor in that movie?
Who?
Namor.
Is in Fantastic Four?
What if he does show up in that movie?
I mean, I don't know.
No, like as actual Namor, not Namor.
Oh. Sure. I mean, maybe, but there's already so many fucking people in this movie.
Yeah, and then, 90 minutes only, so you get 2 minutes of each character.
So what's Namor going to be doing in there? Hey, listen to Geekbox as well. This last episode was the return of Justin Haywald and Adam Fish to talk about
the old crew.
Yeah, the whole group is there. We talk about Severance and Refantasio, new RPG game hadn't played. Or I guess
Is
last
it about
year.
refunds?
It's was it Refantasio, Metaphor Refantasio by Atlas. Yeah, so Justin
Isn't
played a lot
Atlas
of
that
that.
does the anime games?
Yeah.
It's okay. This Severance talk led into real life.
No, stop. We have to talk about the biggest news of all.
We're waiting.
Yes. What's
Video game announcement of the Samurai Pizza Cats.
That's Geekbox talk, man. Come on, Samurai Pizza Cats.
Have you seen the trailer?
I've not.
Dude,
I'm not a Samurai Pizza Cats
so
guy.
awesome. They even got like the voice actor. So first of all, when they did the dubbing of the anime, they got the voice actor. They didn't get no script, so I think it's known that they were just doing whatever they wanted to. So they made up their own storylines. So they got the same voice actors back. So they're back for the video game, and the video game looks just like the cartoon. It's awesome. Yeah, I'm super stoked about this. I'm like beyond stoked about this game coming out. This, Thunderbolts, Daredevil, Andor, it's going to be a good life.
It's going to be a good year. 2025 is a good year.
Yeah. Nah,
good year. Don't pay attention to anything else except this big giant screen and popcorn.
Nah, it's, after that, just need to win the lottery so I get some work-life balance and, beyond that. Yeah. Anywho. Samurai Pizza Cats.
And that's it. Thanks everyone for listening.
We're missing it by 2 minutes.
That's all right. That's all right. We got the intro music and outro music. I'm sure it'll be close. Thank you everyone for listening. We'll catch you next week.